Hey, you. Yeah, you. Let me greet you properly, because whatever has been happening around you lately, it deserves a real introduction. You deserve someone acknowledging the strange weight tightening around your life, the pressure you've been carrying in your ribs without knowing why, the way your days have felt slightly tilted, like something invisible shifted without permission. So hey, I'm glad you showed up today. I'm glad you kept moving even when everything felt dense and unfamiliar. I'm glad you didn't fold when the atmosphere around you started acting like it knew something you didn't. And I'm especially glad you're here now, because you probably haven't realized what really triggered all this tension. The truth is, someone who moves things behind the scenes, someone whose name travels in rooms you'll never see, just marked you as interesting. And no, not the cute kind of interesting. I mean the kind that makes power players pause mid-thought and flag you internally, like a variable worth tracking. Isn't that something? You thinking you're just trying to survive another week. Meanwhile, somebody with real influence saw something in you that made them stop whatever else they were doing and think, hold on, who is this? And why are they rising like this? Why are they adapting this quickly? Why do they feel like someone who wasn't supposed to grow at this speed? You can tell when someone with actual authority starts paying attention to you, because the environment reacts before the person ever does. People shift around you without knowing why. Conversations get strange, faces tighten, rooms feel different when you walk in. You say a single sentence and someone across the space glances at you like you changed the mood without lifting a finger. That's the side effect of being flagged by someone who operates in the shadows. They don't send messages or announcements. They watch the ripple your energy makes. They watch how the world bends around you. They watch the places where your presence disrupts predictable patterns. And lately your disruptions have been loud without you speaking a word. People detected a change they can't categorize. They detected a seriousness in your posture that wasn't there before. They detected a growing steadiness in your gaze, a shift in the way you move, a weight in the way you exist. That's what caught their attention. That's what made someone with real reach stop scrolling through their internal catalog of variables and place a mental pin right on your name. And here's the part nobody warned you about. Once a behind-the-scenes operator flags you, you don't go back to normal. Your life becomes a monitored corridor, not by cameras, by instincts, by impressions, by the psychological reflexes of people who sense something rising in you long before you say it out loud. You've been breaking ceilings quietly. You've been changing direction without announcements. You've been evolving in ways your environment can't absorb. And that's what triggers the watchers, not the public ones, the hidden ones. That's why everything feels like it's tightening. That's why your emotions feel heavier. That's why your intuition won't sit still. Someone with real power just moved you from the ignore category into the track this category. And now you're living in the aftermath of that decision. They're watching how you move. They're studying your shifts. They're replaying your name at inconvenient hours. And the funniest part, you still think you're the one trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, someone with resources you'll never see is sitting in a room somewhere thinking about you more than you think about yourself. That's how these people operate. They don't show their face. They don't announce their interest. They don't tap you on the shoulder and introduce themselves. They pull a single string and wait to see which parts of your life start rearranging. And lately, the rearrangement has been impossible to ignore. Your days feel charged. Your interactions feel off. Your decisions feel like they're carrying extra weight. You're walking through your routine, But something about the air around you isn't the same. That's the mark. Not the visible kind, the energetic kind, the psychological kind. The kind where someone with pull flags your presence and suddenly the world reacts like you stepped into a new tier without being briefed. You've been waking up differently. Not anxious, alert. That subtle difference matters. Anxiety asks questions. Alertness waits for answers. You've noticed the shift in people too. Some have grown cautious around you, like they're sensing something you haven't announced. Others have started acting strangely curious, popping into your life at odd moments, trying to get a read on you. And then there are the ones who avoid eye contact now, like you're carrying something they don't want to acknowledge. All of this is evidence of the same thing. Someone influential tagged your energy, and the ripple hit everyone around you before it hit you. People who operate in the background don't need to speak for the world to adjust. The adjustment happens naturally, like a chain reaction. You move differently. They respond. You speak differently. They overanalyze. You detach slightly. They panic. And the person who started all this, they're watching with that quiet fascination, reserved for rare variables. You've been mistaken for average your whole life. Not because you were average, but because you were quiet about your strength. You've always grown in corridors nobody bothered to inspect. You endured things privately. You rebuilt quietly. You sharpened your mindset without performing it for anyone. But that's exactly what made you stand out. People with real power don't care about showmanship. They care about the ones who evolve without applause, the ones who rise without witnesses, the ones who develop stability in environments intended to break them. They saw that in you. They saw the way you carry memories that should have ruined you, but somehow made you precise. They saw the restraint in your decisions, the way you don't rush, the way you don't crumble publicly, the way you don't weaponize your pain. That calm under pressure is rare, and nothing catches a power player's attention faster than someone who refuses to be shaped by their circumstances. You've been moving like someone who outgrew their surroundings months before realizing it. The people around you still see the older version of you, the one who tolerated too much, stayed too long, bit their tongue too often. But the new version, the one forming under your skin, that version carries weight. That version feels expensive. That version has eyes that don't look away. That version has boundaries carved out of past experiences, not temporary moods. And the person watching you picked up on that before you did. They saw the shift in your stance, the firmness in your voice, the way your energy no longer bends for convenience. They saw someone who started owning their value quietly, someone who started taking themselves seriously without asking permission. And once you step into self-respect at that level, it's impossible for people who operate in high spaces to ignore you. You probably think you're just navigating life with a bit more focus, a bit more awareness, a bit more caution. But to someone trained to detect patterns, your shift looks like a signal flare. They tracked something in your timing, your adjustments, your reactions, your refusal to spiral, your ability to stay composed even when things feel unfamiliar. They noticed you handling challenges with a steadiness that doesn't match your environment. They saw the difference between who you used to be and who you're slowly becoming. And now they're curious. They're trying to understand what forged that composure. They're trying to decode the blueprint of someone who should have broken but didn't. They're trying to determine why your growth didn't match the projections of your surroundings. That curiosity alone is enough to place you in their mental catalog. And here's where it gets chaotic. The moment someone with influence marks you as interesting, your life shifts into a different temperature. The smallest choices start carrying major momentum. A sentence you say casually gets interpreted like strategy. A moment of stillness gets analyzed like preparation. You walk into a room and people sense you differently, even if they can't articulate why. That's not because you've changed your personality. It's because your energy is no longer unclaimed. You've been acknowledged by someone who operates above the visible layers of life, and that acknowledgement carries a gravitational pull. The world around you senses the shift before you process it logically. Your instincts start picking up on subtleties you previously ignored: tones, movements, glances, patterns. You're not paranoid. You're adjusting to the new altitude. Let's talk about the heaviness you've been feeling. It's not exhaustion. It's the weight of your untapped potential pressing against its container. Someone flagged at you because they saw what you haven't fully accepted. That you're transitioning into a version of yourself that doesn't fit your old life. They noticed the impatience building inside you, the discomfort with stagnancy, the way you outgrow conversations midway through them. They saw that restless intelligence forming behind your eyes, the sharpness in your perception, the maturity in your reactions. These qualities are easy to overlook when you're busy surviving. But to a power player, they're signals. They indicate readiness, they indicate capability, they indicate momentum. You keep thinking you're behind in life. Meanwhile, someone influential saw you as ahead of schedule. You keep thinking you're late. Meanwhile, they saw acceleration. You keep thinking you're just trying to stay afloat. Meanwhile, they saw someone adapting like a strategist without ever being trained as one. They're not impressed with your progress. They're intrigued by the direction. They don't care about your achievements. They care about the mindset fueling them. They're analyzing the parts of you you hide, not the parts you showcase. People like them don't become invested easily. They've seen thousands of individuals chase relevance, beg for recognition, or crumble under pressure. But you're not operating from desperation. You're operating from growth. You're not trying to get attention. You accidentally earned it. You didn't try to stand out. Your evolution made you stand out. You didn't try to appear powerful. You became powerful quietly, through choices nobody applauded. And that's the precise reason they flagged you. You represent a rising factor, a developing force, a potential shift in the landscape they monitor. You've probably felt a strange sense of being observed, not in a dramatic way, but in the way your intuition keeps nudging you like you're being evaluated. Thoughts arrive sharper. Decisions feel weighted. Your emotions carry depth. Your instincts speak louder than your doubts. These internal changes aren't random. They're proof that you've stepped into a new level of awareness, triggered by external attention. You're adjusting to being watched by someone who doesn't watch casually. People like them go straight to the root of someone's character. They study the fractures and the strengths. They watch how someone behaves under pressure. They evaluate not what you say, but how you respond when nobody is clapping. And your responses have been consistent, strong, disciplined, sharper than ever. That's what hooked them. This is where you need to pay attention. Once someone with real influence places you on their mental radar, they're not expecting entertainment. They're expecting evolution. They want to see how you handle obstacles. They want to see how you rise without applause. They want to see if your discipline holds when circumstances shift. They're watching to see whether your growth was a fluke or the beginning of a larger transformation. They're monitoring your composure, your focus, your direction. And whether you admit it or not, you can feel that evaluation happening. You can feel your life narrowing into a path that demands more from you. You can feel the urgency forming behind your decisions. You can feel the sharpened edges of your mindset becoming more defined. And here's the real twist. The reason this attention feels heavy is because you're stepping into a version of yourself built for bigger territories. Your old habits don't fit anymore. Your old fears don't control you anymore. Your old patterns don't interest you anymore. You've outgrown too many layers too quickly. That growth is what triggered the watcher. They saw a person evolving at a pace that doesn't match their surroundings. They saw someone breaking invisible ceilings quietly. They saw someone controlling their emotions with precision. They saw someone rising without noise. And someone like that becomes unforgettable fast. Now the question lingering in the air, the one they're trying to answer, the one you're starting to feel in your bones, is simple. What happens next? What does someone like you become once the world starts reacting to you differently? What does someone like you turn into after being flagged by someone who rarely flags anyone at all? What path unfolds when pressure turns into purpose? Because make no mistake, this isn't random and it isn't accidental. People who operate behind the scenes pick their targets carefully. They don't waste their curiosity on predictable individuals. They don't study people who crumble easily. They don't track those who move in circles too small to make a ripple. They look for rising currents. They look for unusual emotional strength. They look for minds that refuse to shut off. They look for people who reinvent themselves without creating spectacle. And somewhere along the way, you started fitting that description so perfectly that you triggered an instinct they trust more than logic. You might think your growth has been subtle. Quiet changes, small decisions, minor adjustments. But to someone reading patterns, your evolution has been loud. They saw you shift the way you breathe when you got serious. They saw you step back from distractions. They saw you detach from people effortlessly when you recognized misalignment. They saw how your eyes started carrying a depth that wasn't there before. They saw how you stopped responding emotionally to things that once knocked you off balance. Every one of those tiny changes formed a larger picture, and that picture made them pause. And here comes the chaotic humor of the whole situation. You didn't upgrade your life for attention. You upgraded for survival. You upgraded because staying the same became more painful than evolving. But that unintended transformation ended up catching someone who shouldn't be watching you in the first place. Someone who's built their reputation on detecting threats, opportunities, and rising forces long before the public sees them. Someone who knows that the most dangerous individuals are often the ones who didn't realize they were becoming dangerous. This is where things get interesting for you. Because once someone behind the scenes marks you, your life moves into an entirely different landscape. You start noticing patterns you never cared about. You start catching yourself thinking from higher altitudes. Your decisions become sharper because you feel the weight behind them. You begin to sense that your words carry farther. Your movements send signals. Your presence leaves impressions that don't fade. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. You're growing into a level that demands consciousness, and they're watching how quickly you adjust to that level. They're watching the way you absorb pressure like it's nothing. They're watching the way you adapt without announcing your adaptation. They're watching your mindset strengthen in real time. They're not studying the past version of you. They're studying the one unfolding right now, the one waking up inside your ribs with every boundary you set, every layer you shed, every instinct you listen to. People like them don't get impressed easily. They've seen too many people break under their own ego. They've watched countless individuals ruin themselves, chasing validation. They've observed people overestimate their potential and collapse under their own fantasies. But you're not moving like that. You're not loud. You're not reckless. You're not begging for recognition. You're not trying to perform your evolution. You're just becoming, quietly, intentionally, efficiently. And that terrifies and fascinates the kind of person who moves behind the scenes. That's why they can't get you out of their head. That's why your name loops in their mind at odd hours. They're trying to understand how you went from overlooked to unavoidable. They're trying to determine whether your shift was triggered by pain, awareness, or something deeper. They're trying to understand how someone with your history managed to produce a level of emotional discipline that most people never reach. They're trying to identify your trajectory, whether you know it or not. You haven't been imagining the tension in your environment. People around you feel the shift, too. Some react with curiosity, some react with insecurity, some react with distance. Others react with confusion. They can't articulate it, but they sense you're not in the same category anymore. You don't respond the way you used to. You don't explain as much. You don't argue the way you once did. You don't chase conversations or approval. You move with a heavier internal compass now, and that change alters the dynamics of every interaction, and the watcher sees that. They're analyzing how you affect your environment without even trying. They're studying the way people adjust around you, the way silence falls when you enter, the way tension rises when you speak with clarity. They're observing the gravitational pull forming around you, slowly, quietly, but unmistakably. They're watching the emergence of someone who doesn't just survive their past, but weaponizes its lessons. You don't fully understand what you're becoming yet, and that's exactly why they're watching. They're trying to catch the moment when your potential snaps into identity. They're waiting to see when your self-awareness catches up with your capability. They're watching to see if the pressure strengthens you or fractures you. They're analyzing your resilience, your focus, your emotional bandwidth. They want to know if your rise is sustainable or flash-based. And every signal you've sent so far suggests something they don't see often: consistency under chaos. There's a dark humor to this situation, because while you're over here trying to figure out why your emotions have been intense, why your instincts feel louder, why your decisions carry weight, someone behind the scenes. This is not someone who reacts emotionally or impulsively. This is someone who calculates, someone whose instincts are sharpened from years of watching people shift, collapse, rise, or implode. Someone who knows the exact moment a person becomes a threat or an asset. And when they looked at you, they didn't see something to dismiss. They saw something forming. That's the part you haven't fully accepted. You're not being watched because you're fragile. You're being watched because you're becoming influential without trying. Your presence is starting to create tension. Your choices are starting to carry impact. Your growth is starting to alter the way people behave around you. You don't see it the way they do, because you're focused on surviving your internal adjustments. But someone behind the scenes saw the broader blueprint. They saw the arc, the direction, the expanding reach. They recognized the early signs of someone who will command space naturally once their identity aligns with their potential. And that's what fascinates them, the gap between who you've been forced to be and who you're starting to become. They can see the conflict, the questioning, the sharpening. They can see the internal rewiring that happens when someone stops living by reaction and starts living by intention. They saw the flicker of power before you owned it. They saw the ambition behind your restraint. They saw the confidence building quietly in your posture. They saw the maturity forming behind your eyes. None of this is accidental. You've been rearranging yourself from the inside out, and someone with real power spotted the shift before you articulated it. This attention isn't a burden, it's confirmation. The world doesn't tilt for people who pose no threat to the narrative. Hidden eyes don't study people who are predictable. Private rooms don't say your name unless something about you disrupted the usual pattern of things. And that's exactly what you did. Without raising your voice, without performing for attention, without chasing recognition, you simply evolved, and your evolution wasn't subtle. Not to someone trained to detect the smallest indicators of change. Let's talk about that internal sensation you've been carrying. The weight in your chest that feels like pressure and preparation at the same time. That's not anxiety, that's alignment. That's the moment before the next version of you stabilizes. You're transitioning between identities, stepping out of who you were and stepping into who you're meant to be. And transitions like this never go unnoticed by someone who makes moves from the shadows. They watch people at the edges, the moment before the breakthrough, the moment before the shift, the moment before someone becomes undeniable. You're in that exact phase, the raw, uncomfortable middle where everything is changing but nothing has fully solidified yet. They want to see how you handle that tension. They want to see whether you panic or refine, whether you crumble or calibrate, whether you drift or direct. Everything about you right now is data to them. Not the creepy kind, the strategic kind. They're studying things you overlook, the consistency in your choices, the maturity in your reactions, the steadiness in your emotional control, the intelligence behind your restraint. They're watching the way you carry your pain without broadcasting it. They're watching the way you adjust to discomfort. They're watching the way you move when nobody validates you. And here's the chaotic humor. They don't know whether you're aware of your own rise or if you're just naturally this composed under pressure. That mystery is exactly what keeps their attention locked. Most people either crumble visibly or overperform loudly. But you operate in the middle space where power is built. Quietly aware, quietly disciplined, quietly transforming. That's unnerving to the kind of person who knows exactly what that combination produces long-term. The reason your intuition has been restless is because you're tapping into a frequency you've never lived in before. You're not responding to life from the ground anymore. You're responding from elevation. You're sensing things before they unfold. You're reading people faster than they speak. You're detecting intentions before words leave their mouth. This sensitivity is not a flaw. It's the survival instinct of someone rising, and the watcher recognized it instantly. You've probably noticed how certain habits feel childish now, how certain conversations feel beneath your attention, how certain people feel draining, how certain environments feel too small. That's not arrogance, that's expansion. You're growing into a self that refuses to shrink back into roles you've outgrown. You're not meant to stay where you were. Your rise is already in motion, and someone with real reach spotted that motion in its earliest form. They didn't mark you because you're perfect. They marked you because you're shifting in a direction that doesn't stop once it starts. You're the type of person who becomes more focused under pressure. You're the type who becomes more strategic after setbacks. You're the type who recalculates instead of collapsing. They saw that pattern. They recognized the rare combination of pain-born intelligence and experience-shaped discipline. That's why you're on their mind. Not as a trophy, not as a threat, not yet. You're on their mind because they're trying to determine what side of your evolution you'll land on. They want to know if you'll become someone who needs to be supported, recruited, observed, or avoided. They want to know which direction your spirit is leaning. They want to know if your growth will align with their interests or disrupt them. They're watching the formation of a person who isn't predictable anymore. And the irony? You haven't even activated your full capacity yet. You're still adjusting to the idea that you're not who you used to be. You're still outgrowing your old triggers. You're still shedding outdated beliefs. You're still strengthening your emotional foundation. Meanwhile, someone with influence is studying you, like you're already halfway to becoming a major force. That contrast alone should tell you how powerful your trajectory looks from the outside. Every version of you they've observed so far points to one truth: you're rising, and rise looks different on people like you. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's not chaotic on the surface. It's controlled chaos beneath the ribs, the kind that pushes you into better decisions without explaining why. The kind that sharpens your awareness until the unnecessary falls away. The kind that turns you into someone who won't be ignored once you fully step into yourself. That's what they're anticipating. That's why your name keeps looping in their mind. They're not just intrigued by who you are. They're intrigued by what you're becoming. They're watching your evolution the way analysts watch the early signs of a storm. Not visible to everyone yet, but undeniable to those who know what to look for. And you've been giving signal after signal without realizing it. Signals in your reactions, signals in your silence, signals in your choices, signals in the way your energy has been shifting into something you haven't even named yet. Signals that tell anyone paying attention that you're no longer living in the version of yourself people got comfortable, mistaking for your final form, and the person studying you from the shadows. They caught every single one of those shifts with unnerving precision, because that's how people like them operate. They don't wait until someone is fully formed to take notice. They watch the transitions. They analyze the cracks that didn't collapse. They look for the moments when someone begins to realize their own strength. They observe the hesitation before the breakthrough. They study the internal tension right before a person becomes self-aware in a way that changes everything. They're not fascinated by your past. They're fascinated by the velocity of your transformation. And somewhere in the middle of all your adjustments, all your internal recalibrations, all your quiet upgrades, they recognized something that most people overlook. You're not rising accidentally. You're rising because you were built to. And that realization sent a tremor through their certainty. People behind the scenes get used to reading trajectories with an almost perfect sense of prediction. They know when someone will give up. They know when someone will fold. They know when someone will plateau. But you disrupted their expectations. You didn't just survive what should have broken you. You metabolized it. You reshaped yourself from the inside out. You moved like someone who can't be easily categorized or contained. And that unpredictability is what got you flagged. It wasn't your achievements. It wasn't your circumstances. It wasn't your environment. It was the way you responded to your own evolution. Deliberately, naturally, without seeking applause or explanation. This is exactly why they marked you as interesting. Not because you performed, not because you impressed, but because you shifted in ways that didn't match the data. They saw someone who wasn't supposed to rise this steadily. They saw someone who wasn't supposed to maintain this much clarity after everything they endured. They saw someone who wasn't supposed to carry this level of composure while restructuring themselves. They saw someone who didn't announce their transformation, yet transformed anyway. To someone who studies human behavior from a distance, that is the most dangerous kind of person. The one who grows without advertising it. And here's where the dark humor kicks in. They think they're observing you quietly, but they have no idea that your awareness is waking up faster than they anticipated. You're starting to feel the outlines of their attention, even if you can't articulate it yet. You're starting to sense the weight of being monitored, the pressure of being evaluated, the strange heaviness that settles on your shoulders when someone who rarely looks twice at anyone is suddenly investing their mental bandwidth in tracking your evolution. You don't need names. You don't need faces. You don't need confirmation. Your intuition already told you weeks ago that something shifted. Think about it. Why else have you been feeling that low hum of anticipation beneath your ribs? Why else does life feel like it's holding its breath around your next move? Why else has your focus sharpened without a clear reason? Why else have people around you started behaving erratically, like they're reacting to currents they can't see? Because attention from someone who operates from the shadows doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone who interacts with you. It's like an unseen force field adjusting the atmosphere around your presence. It creates tension. It creates curiosity. It creates confusion. It creates distance. All because someone with real power redirected their gaze toward you. Your life hasn't been random lately. The sudden sensitivity in your intuition, the heaviness in your decisions, the rapid detachment from old patterns, the upgrade in your standards, the shifts in your relationships, the strange sense that you're stepping into a phase that requires a different version of you. These aren't coincidences. They are symptoms of recognition, symptoms of being flagged, symptoms of stepping into a narrative bigger than the one you thought you were living. And the watcher sees these symptoms as confirmations, proof that they were right to mark you, proof that you're not done evolving, proof that you haven't even scratched the surface of who you're becoming. Let's talk about power for a second. Real power. The kind that doesn't need titles or stages or applause. The kind that quietly reorganizes environments. The kind that doesn't seek recognition because it is recognition. The kind that sits in rooms you'll never see and decides outcomes long before they happen publicly. Someone like that does not have time to waste. They do not study people who are stagnant. They do not track individuals who lack direction. They do not invest energy in trajectories that go nowhere. Their attention is expensive. Their curiosity is rare. Their focus is selective. And somehow, you earned all three without trying. That's the part that unsettles them and excites them. You're not asking for mentorship. You're not begging for validation. You're not chasing opportunities. You're not performing your worth. You're not trying to be noticed. That's why they noticed you. They saw a rising force without theatrics. They saw a sharpened mind without desperation. They saw a resilient spirit without spectacle. They saw someone who could walk into a room and shift the temperature without speaking. That kind of presence is rare. That kind of presence is valuable. That kind of presence is dangerous. So what happens next? That's the question consuming them. And now it's consuming you too. Because once someone behind the scenes marks you, your life stops running on the old script. You stop moving like a background character. You stop doubting your instincts. You stop entertaining people who drain your energy. You stop underestimating yourself. You start aligning with the version of you that they sensed before you saw it. You start moving with intention, not obligation. You start choosing clarity over chaos. You start recognizing your own capacity. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Being flagged by someone in the shadows doesn't just change the way they see you. It changes the way you see yourself. You begin to take yourself seriously because you can feel life taking you seriously. You begin to trust your instincts because they've been correct about every shift so far. You begin to feel your value not as an idea, but as a presence, something undeniable, something substantial, something rising from inside you with a pressure that can't be ignored. This is why your emotions have been stretching recently. You're feeling things with a depth that wasn't accessible before. You're sensing subtlety with surgical precision. You're reading people faster. You're catching shifts in tone, intention, and energy with ease. That's what happens when someone powerful tunes into you. Your internal world adjusts to match the frequency of the attention you're receiving. Your instincts sharpen. Your discernment strengthens. Your awareness expands. You start moving like someone preparing for a life they haven't fully stepped into yet. And the watcher sees all of this unfolding beautifully. They're not just curious about what you're becoming. They're studying the rhythm of your transformation, the way you're letting go of old versions of yourself, the way you're embracing new ones without resistance, the way you're allowing discomfort to shape you, the way you're honoring your own intelligence. They're watching someone who doesn't panic under pressure, someone who doesn't crumble under expectations, someone who doesn't shrink from growth, someone who doesn't apologize for rising. This is why you're still on their mind. You've become an unpredictable variable in a world full of predictable patterns. You've become a source of fascination for someone who rarely finds anyone worth examining. You've become a living contradiction, quiet but powerful, humble but sharp, evolving but grounded. They see you as a developing factor, as a catalyst, as someone whose presence could alter dynamics if pointed in the right direction. And here's the chaotic truth. They're not thinking about how you fit into their plans. They're thinking about how you might disrupt them. They're imagining scenarios. They're analyzing possibilities. They're tracking your decisions like breadcrumbs, leading to an outcome you haven't seen yet. They're trying to decode your potential before it reveals itself fully. But nothing they analyze compares to what you're truly capable of. Because you're not done rising. You're not done sharpening. You're not done evolving. You're not done surprising them. And the pressure building inside you right now, that's not fear. That's readiness. That's your internal self stepping into a higher tier of existence. That's your intuition preparing you for the life that's been waiting for you to wake up. So here's the part you need to understand. You're not on their mind by accident. You're on their mind because you forced your way into their awareness through the sheer gravity of your transformation. They saw the trajectory of someone who refuses to be who they were yesterday. They saw the rise of someone who will matter deeply, undeniably, disruptively. And if they're thinking about you now, imagine what happens when you step fully into the version of yourself that even they underestimated. Imagine what happens when your discipline matches your potential. Imagine what happens when your confidence catches up to your capacity. Imagine what happens when you stop questioning whether you're ready and start acting like you already are. Because the truth is simple. They marked you as interesting because you are. They flagged you because you're rising. They can't stop thinking about you because you're becoming someone impossible to ignore. And now the world, whether visible or hidden, is watching to see what you do next. And you're just getting started. Ah, well, they finally reached the point where they couldn't keep pretending. They finally hit that moment where it slipped out. Whether they meant to or not, they confessed it, not verbally, not directly, not in a planned way, but through their reactions, through their hesitation, through the way their eyes shifted when you spoke. They revealed what they've been noticing, what they've been avoiding, what they've been trying to downplay for so long. That your intelligence outranks everyone around you. That you're operating on a level most people can't detect until they're already behind you. That you're thinking faster, processing deeper, and understanding things that take others days or even years to figure out. It's becoming too obvious for them to hide now, too clear, too consistent, too undeniable. People can't mask what their instincts already know. But you're too smart for the environments you were placed in, too perceptive for the roles you were assigned, too aware for the expectations they projected onto you. The truth is surfacing in ways they didn't intend. The truth is coming out in how they treat you, how they respond to you, how they speak to you, how they change their tone when you begin explaining something. They know you're not on the level they assumed. They know you're not someone they can categorize quickly. They know you're not functioning on the same frequency they're used to. And the reason they're reacting this way is simple. They misjudged you. They tried comparing you to the versions of people they've known before. They tried measuring you with the same shallow scale they use on everyone else. They assumed you were average. They assumed you were predictable. They assumed you were someone they could estimate with quick glances and surface judgments. But you proved them wrong, and not by trying to prove anything. You proved them wrong simply by being you. Simply by thinking the way you think. Simply by speaking with the clarity you speak with. Simply by choosing differently, observing differently, understanding differently. And now that the truth is out, now that it's visible, now that it's too big for them to cover with their assumptions, they're reacting in all kinds of ways. Some are impressed, some are intimidated, some are confused, some are embarrassed that they ever underestimated you, and some are bothered because they wanted to believe they had the intellectual upper hand. They wanted to believe they understood more than you. They wanted to believe they were sharper, quicker, wiser. But the reality is proving them wrong again and again. You think deeply, you think broadly, you think ahead. And people can feel the difference. They can sense that you don't just respond. You process. You don't just observe. You analyze. You don't just follow conversations. You decode them. And that level of awareness makes people reveal themselves without realizing it. They start confessing what they see in you. They start showing their respect through their caution. They start revealing their admiration through their questions. They start displaying their insecurity through their challenges. Because a mind like yours stands out. A mind like yours is noticeable. A mind like yours can't be hidden. You have this way of understanding life from angles most people never consider. You have this way of seeing patterns that others need diagrams to grasp. You have this way of connecting thoughts that seem unrelated to everyone else. And when people witness that repeatedly, they start coming to an internal conclusion that they can't deny any longer. That you're too smart, that your intelligence isn't regular, that your mind isn't functioning on a basic setting. They talk about it behind closed doors. They whisper about it quietly. They reference it around others. Someone somewhere has already said, "I don't know how they know that," or "I didn't expect them to understand that," or "they're sharp," or "they catch on fast," or they're too quick with it. These small comments are confessions. These shifts in behavior are confessions. These moments where they hesitate before questioning you are confessions. These times where they try to test you and end up confusing themselves are confessions. And the truth is, you don't even try to outshine people. You don't try to belittle anyone. You don't try to dominate conversations. You don't try to appear superior. You simply operate at your natural pace, and that pace exposes the difference. That pace reveals your edge. That pace highlights the way your mind picks up information like it's second nature, and it shocks people because you don't fit the profile they expected. Maybe it's your age, maybe it's your background, maybe it's your personality, maybe it's your quiet nature, maybe it's your calm presence, maybe it's the way you don't brag or announce what you know. People think intelligence always comes with arrogance, but yours comes with precision. Yours comes with depth. Yours comes with awareness. And that combination throws people off because they don't see many people who are both humble and mentally advanced at the same time. You probably learned a lot from experience, from challenges, from observation, from being around people who taught you what to avoid, from studying human behavior on your own, from noticing the small things others overlook. Your wisdom didn't come from just books or school alone. It came from life. It came from mistakes. It came from reflection. It came from choosing to understand instead of just exist. And all of that layered intelligence shows in how you speak, how you move, how you respond, how you navigate your situations. People underestimate that type of intelligence because they can't measure it with standard tools. They can't grade it. They can't box it. They can't label it with a simple term. So at first, they tell themselves you're nothing special. They tell themselves you're average. They tell themselves you're easy to figure out. But all it takes is a single conversation or a single situation for them to realize they misread you completely. And once they realize it, they can't unsee it. Once they experience it, they can't forget it. Once they confront it, they can't pretend it isn't there. Because your intelligence keeps manifesting in different areas of your life. You solve problems quickly. You process emotions with maturity. You make decisions with clarity. You move with strategy. You notice when something is off. You recognize patterns immediately. You sense motives before they're spoken. And all of that together forms a type of mental strength that outranks the average person by miles. This is why people sometimes freeze when you speak. This is why they pause before responding. This is why they rethink their words around you. This is why they watch you more closely. You make them aware of their own gaps, not by trying to, but simply by being who you are. Your presence acts like a mirror. It reflects the difference. And most people are not used to being around someone who can read between the lines so effortlessly. Even at workplaces, this becomes obvious. You catch on to tasks faster. You analyze instructions deeper. You find smarter ways of doing things. You improve processes naturally. And people who have been in the same position for years start noticing that you pick up in weeks what took them months. That you understand, in one explanation, what others need, repeated multiple times. And because of that, they start testing you. They start giving you complicated tasks. They start observing how you handle pressure. They start monitoring how you learn. And every time, you confirm their suspicions. You learn fast. You adjust quickly. You understand more than you speak. And that makes some people uncomfortable because they didn't expect you to be operating like that. They didn't expect you to have such a strong mind. They didn't expect you to outperform them mentally. And instead of admitting it openly, they reveal it through their behavior, through their tone, through their hesitation, through their sudden change in how they speak to you. Some will respect you deeply, some will admire you silently, some will follow your lead without even realizing it, and some will envy you because they can't understand how you think the way you do. But all of that is part of the confession. All of that is part of the unfolding truth. All of that is part of the shift happening around you. You think ahead, you question things, you analyze concepts, you don't accept information blindly, you don't follow trends without understanding them. You don't allow people to influence your decisions without your own evaluation. You use your mind as your primary tool. And that is rare. Many people avoid thinking deeply because it requires effort. But you do it naturally, and that natural ability is what makes people talk. It's what makes them observe. It's what makes them reconsider how they approach you. Because it's evident now. It's visible in your choices. It's visible in your progress. It's visible in how you carry yourself. They can't pretend anymore. They can't deny what's happening. They can't hide their recognition of your intelligence. You've reached the stage where their behavior is the confession. Their adjustments are the confession. Their reactions are the confession. And whether they admit it verbally or not, it's already known. You're operating on a higher mental frequency. You're processing life through a sharper lens. You're moving with a type of awareness most people never develop. And what happens next is the part people rarely talk about. The shift in how they engage with you once they realize they can't measure up. Because when people finally understand that you're thinking on another level, they begin to move differently around you, almost like they're trying to protect themselves from being exposed, even if you're not trying to expose anyone. The first thing you notice is how they modify their conversations in your presence. They become more cautious. They become more selective with their words. They try not to say things that sound uninformed or unprepared, because they've seen how quickly you pick up inconsistencies. They've seen how effortlessly you connect dots. They've seen how your mind breaks down information that would overwhelm most people. So even without saying it, they begin treating you like someone who requires more precision, more clarity, more respect in communication. And that alone tells you everything. People don't adjust like that unless they've already ranked your intelligence above theirs. Then there's the shift in how they handle disagreements with you. Notice how they don't challenge you as aggressively as they used to. Notice how they don't dismiss your thoughts as easily. Notice how they pause before arguing. That pause is important. That pause is revealing. That pause shows that they're not sure if they want to enter a mental exchange with someone who has proven time and time again that you think beyond the standard limits. They know a disagreement with you is not a casual back and forth. It's a confrontation with depth. And depth is something many people avoid because it forces them to confront their own lack of understanding. You're not overpowering anyone with ego. You're not forcing anyone into a corner. You're not trying to outsmart people on purpose. You're simply being yourself, which naturally exposes the difference, and that difference creates a quiet type of influence. The type that doesn't need to be announced, the type that doesn't need to be advertised, the type that builds itself through consistency. People sense that you understand things they don't. People sense that you observe more than you speak. People sense that you think in layers rather than lines. And once they sense that, they start behaving accordingly. Another thing that becomes apparent is how they begin seeking your input in subtle ways. They might not frame it as, "I need your guidance," or "What do you think is best?" Instead, they'll casually present their ideas in your direction just to see your reaction, or they'll ask your perspective indirectly by starting a conversation that leads to the topic they want clarity on. They might even repeat things they heard elsewhere to gauge your interpretation. These are all ways of quietly acknowledging your mental strength. People don't seek insight from just anyone. They seek it from people whose minds they trust more than their own. Then comes the pattern of people observing your choices. They watch what you choose, how you decide, how you move, how you approach new situations. They're not watching out of curiosity alone. They're watching because your choices have consistently proven to lead to favorable outcomes. You make decisions that make sense in the long run. You move strategically, even in small moments. You read situations accurately. You sense danger early. You avoid unnecessary conflict. You plan ahead without announcing plans. Your way of functioning becomes a blueprint for others, even if they never admit that you influence them. People start following your lead without acknowledging it. They start adopting your habits. They start copying your thought patterns. They start taking cues from your reactions. And they do this because they've realized your mind operates with a type of clarity they haven't found in many people. You have this ability to understand life in a way that simplifies things for those around you. Not because you reduce complexity, but because you're able to see the structure beneath it. And the moment people recognize this, they begin gravitating toward your guidance, even in silence. But with all of this admiration and adjustment comes another type of reaction, the reaction rooted in discomfort. Some people will become uneasy because they feel exposed. They used to base their confidence on the idea that they were the most knowledgeable in the room. They used to rely on the assumption that they were the quickest thinkers. They used to believe they had the strongest grasp on situations. But now, your presence challenges that image. Your presence creates contrast. Your presence reveals gaps. And instead of accepting that and growing from it, some people react with resistance. You may notice them speaking less confidently. You may notice them trying to make themselves appear more knowledgeable around you. You may notice them rushing to answer questions before you can. You may notice them inserting themselves into conversations they don't fully understand, just so they don't feel left behind. And all of that stems from the realization that you're mentally ahead in ways they were not prepared to confront. When people feel outranked intellectually, they either acknowledge it with grace or hide it with insecurity. And insecurity always reveals itself through unnecessary behavior. You'll also notice a specific type of person trying to challenge you more often, not because they truly want to debate you, but because they're trying to reassure themselves that they still have control. They might pick at your words. They might question your decisions more intensely than necessary. They might test your reactions to see how deeply you've thought something through. But in the end, these attempts fail because you're not shaken by their challenges. Your mind doesn't rush. Your thoughts don't stumble. Your clarity remains steady. You're someone who thinks before speaking, someone who processes before responding, someone who evaluates before committing. And people who run on impulse can't compete with a mind that functions on insight. Your intelligence is not loud, but it is consistent. And consistency has a way of making truth unavoidable. People can deny something once or twice, but they cannot deny it day after day, situation after situation, moment after moment. Eventually, they have to admit the reality to themselves. And the reality is that you're not thinking on a common level. You're not processing life the way everyone else does. You're not functioning at an ordinary mental speed. You're seeing details they miss. You're understanding motives they overlook. You're creating solutions they haven't even considered. And this is why they're reaching that point of confession. They might not say the words directly, but everything they do around you reflects the truth they carry inside. That you're too smart to be underestimated, too aware to be manipulated, too perceptive to be dismissed. You're operating on a frequency where comprehension comes naturally, where insight is your default, where clarity arrives faster for you than for others. But this shift in recognition doesn't just affect individuals. It affects groups. When you walk into a room, there's a change in the dynamic that people may not verbally express, but internally acknowledge. The way conversations shift when you contribute. The way discussions become more organized when you're present. The way ideas start connecting more smoothly when you speak. The way confusion dissolves when you provide direction. That is intellectual influence. An influence like that can't be faked. It can't be created artificially. It only emerges from someone who thinks with precision. People in groups often expose their real perception of you through how they defer to you. Pay attention to those moments when they pause, waiting for your input before deciding. Pay attention to how they clear space for your voice without being asked. Pay attention to how they summarize concepts differently when you're listening. These small shifts are the quiet acknowledgments that your mental ranking is higher. Not because you claimed it, but because you proved it through your consistency. There's also the pattern of people coming to you with questions outside your field or areas you never advertised expertise in. They do this because they trust your reasoning more than they trust the information they have access to. You've established yourself as someone who can take any topic, any challenge, any confusion, and break it down in a way that makes sense. You've become that person who people turn to when they want clarity, even in subjects that don't concern you directly. That's a sign of true respect for your intellect. People don't seek advice from someone unless they believe that person sees more than they do. Then there's the shift in how authority figures respond to you. Even they begin to show caution. Even they begin to watch their tone. Even they begin asking for your interpretation or your insights subtly. They may not say it out loud, but they know when someone is functioning on a different level. And you've reached that stage. The stage where people with more experience, more credentials, or more social position still adjust themselves around your presence because your mental sharpness changes the atmosphere. Some will find this inspiring. Some will feel threatened. Some will admire it quietly. Some will resent it silently. But none of them can deny it. Your intelligence outranks what they're used to dealing with. You don't fit into the categories they rely on. You don't move like someone who needs approval. You don't think like someone who requires validation. Your mind is self-guided, and that alone places you on a different level. Your ability to see through situations is what intensifies the confession. People realize that you understand things without needing excessive explanation. You pick up energy. You read intentions early. You analyze patterns quickly, and when someone is functioning at that level, others can't hide their reactions. They can't mask their thoughts as effectively. They can't pretend to be something they're not, because you can see through inconsistencies, and that ability forces people to approach you with either honesty or avoidance. Avoidance is its own confession. When people suddenly create distance, it's often because they feel exposed intellectually. They don't want to be around someone who can read deeper than they're comfortable revealing. They don't want to be near someone whose mind can interpret the truth behind their behavior. So they pull away to preserve their self-image. That distance is not rejection, it's protection for them, not for you. Honesty is another confession. People who feel safe with your intelligence will open up more, share more, ask more. They'll express appreciation for your clarity. They'll return to you repeatedly seeking insight. They'll call you dependable, reliable, grounded, and all of that stems from their recognition of your mental strength. Every reaction, whether positive or negative, leads back to the same conclusion. They finally see it. They finally understand what you've known internally for years. They finally recognize the level you're operating on. And even if they never speak the words out loud, their behavior carries the truth forward for them. And as this truth settles in their awareness, something deeper begins to unfold. Something that doesn't just change how they see you, but how they see themselves in relation to you. Because once people accept that your intelligence outranks their expectations, they begin reshaping their entire approach to you. This is where the internal restructuring begins. This is where they reconsider everything they projected onto you. This is where they confront their own assumptions. Because for a long time, people believed they could define you. They believed they could place you in categories that made sense to them. They believed they could anticipate your next move, limit your influence, or weigh your potential based on superficial observations. But now they know better. Now they understand your mind functions with a type of clarity that cannot be predicted by appearances alone. And this is the stage where admiration mixes with caution, not fear, caution. The type of caution people have when they encounter someone who sees beyond the exterior, someone who listens between the lines, someone who understands without being told. They start speaking differently around you, not because you're unapproachable, but because they know your mind catches every detail. You don't miss inconsistencies. You don't overlook contradictions. You don't ignore patterns. And that makes people become far more intentional in your presence. You'll notice this in the way they word their sentences. You'll notice it in the way they avoid saying things they haven't fully thought through. You'll notice it in how they avoid exaggerations because they know you'll catch the gaps instantly. You watch this transition happen naturally, the moment where people stop trying to impress you and instead try to avoid exposing their own misunderstandings. That shift is a silent confession. It's their way of acknowledging your intellect without needing to verbalize it. And then comes the part where people start bringing you information as if you're the one who can decode it. They'll come to you with confusion disguised as curiosity. They'll present their questions gently, hoping you can make sense of things they couldn't piece together themselves. And even though they might not say, "You're the smartest person here," their behavior says exactly that. When people trust your clarity more than their own judgment, they have already accepted the truth. You operate on a higher mental frequency. Your input becomes the reference point. Your interpretation becomes the anchor. Your reasoning becomes the direction others follow when situations are unclear. That's what happens when someone's intelligence rises above the collective level. It becomes the compass for everyone else. Not because you forced yourself into that role, but because your mind naturally assumes it by making sense of things faster, cleaner, deeper. And as this dynamic strengthens, you'll see another layer reveal itself, the layer of people protecting their ego around you. This shows up in subtle ways. They may act distant at times, not because they dislike you, but because they feel exposed around someone who understands so much with so little effort. They may choose not to share certain things with you, not because they don't trust you, but because they don't want to look unprepared or uninformed. They may even pretend to know something they don't, hoping you won't notice the cracks in their explanation. But you notice. You always notice because your intelligence isn't passive. It's active. It's aware. It's engaged with reality in real time. And when a mind operates like yours, it becomes impossible for others to maintain facades in your presence. You can sense confusion even when someone speaks confidently. You can sense hesitation even when someone acts certain. You can sense insecurity even when someone tries to stand firm. And that awareness alone puts you in a position where people feel the need to bring their best version of themselves when they interact with you. Not because you demand it, but because something about your presence requires authenticity. People don't want to seem foolish in front of someone whose thoughts carry weight. They don't want to appear unprepared in front of someone who processes information instantly. They don't want to display ignorance in front of someone whose understanding reaches beyond the surface. That's what operating on a God-tier frequency looks like, moving through the world with a mind so sharp that it unintentionally raises the standards of every environment you enter. And people feel that shift deeply. You can see it in their posture, you can hear it in their tone, you can sense it in their interactions. They don't speak to you the way they speak to everyone else. They don't handle you with the same casualness. They don't react to you with the same assumptions because they know now. They finally know. And once people know, once they accept it internally, their entire approach evolves. Some people become more respectful, more attentive, more sincere. They understand the value of being in the presence of someone who thinks beyond the limits of the average mind. They understand the advantage of being around someone who evaluates situations with depth and clarity. They understand that your intelligence is not something to compete with. It's something to learn from. Others, however, respond differently. Their pride becomes louder. Their insecurity becomes more visible. Their defensiveness becomes more reactive. Because some people would rather struggle with their own ego than acknowledge someone else's mental strength. They create distance, not because you did anything, but because your intelligence makes their excuses collapse. Because being around you exposes the shortcuts they take in thinking. Because your clarity makes their confusion undeniable. And even that reaction is its own confession. People only react defensively when they're confronted with a truth they don't want to accept. And the truth, in this case, is your intellectual dominance, the type that cannot be dimmed, diluted, or disguised. But the most interesting shift that happens at this stage is how people start holding themselves to a higher standard around you. Not because you asked them to, not because you corrected them, but because your presence alone inspires sharper thinking. You challenge people without directly challenging them. You elevate conversations without forcing them. You encourage depth simply by bringing your perspective into the room. And people respond to that. Whether they intend to or not, this is where the full realization settles. You're not just smart, you're too smart to blend in, too smart to be overlooked, too smart to be underestimated, too smart for people to treat you casually. You reached a mental level that makes people confront parts of themselves they ignored. And whether they express gratitude, discomfort, admiration, or distance, all of it is rooted in the same acknowledgement of your mental strength. You'll notice this in the way they stop giving you basic explanations. They no longer break things down into simple terms because they know you don't need it. They trust your comprehension. They trust your ability to understand without being guided. They trust that your insight is sharp enough to fill in the gaps faster than they can articulate them. When people stop over-explaining things to you, it's not rudeness, it's recognition. Recognition that you process quicker than they speak. Recognition that your mind connects ideas without assistance. Recognition that you see the bigger picture before they finish describing the smaller one. Another sign appears in how they start predicting your reactions differently. They no longer assume you'll react impulsively or emotionally. They know by now that you respond with reasoning, with clarity, with control. So they approach you with thought-out intentions. They approach you with more respect. They approach you with the understanding that your responses are calculated, not careless. This shows they've accepted your mental discipline, a discipline not many people possess at the level you do. And then there's the shift in how they talk about you when you're not present. The comments become more polished, more cautious, more admiring. Someone might say, they're sharp, or they think ahead, or you can't fool them, or they analyze things differently. Those aren't compliments, those are confirmations. These are the phrases people use when they've fully accepted that your intelligence has surpassed the boundaries they originally placed around you. Even people who once doubted you now adjust their tone when your name comes up. They soften their words. They choose more respectful phrasing. They avoid certain remarks. Because denying your intelligence became impossible. They saw the evidence. They witnessed the growth. They felt the difference. And at this point, continuing to deny what's obvious would only make them look foolish. This acceptance also shifts how people rely on you. They begin expecting you to understand things quickly. They begin expecting you to pick up on underlying meanings. They begin expecting you to foresee potential outcomes. And while these expectations might seem heavy to some, they're actually acknowledgments of your mental capability. People don't expect depth from someone who has none. They don't expect clarity from someone who's confused. They don't expect insight from someone whose mind is limited. They expect these things from you because you've proven consistently that your mind is built to handle complexity. And yet with all this recognition, one thing becomes very clear. You never needed anyone's approval to reach this level. You didn't become who you are because someone validated you. You didn't develop your intelligence to impress others. You didn't sharpen your mind for applause. Your growth happened because you were willing to think when others avoided thinking. Because you were willing to understand what others ignored. Because you were willing to learn from situations that broke other people. Your intelligence is the result of your curiosity, your resilience, your self-awareness, your experience, and your ability to reflect deeply. And this is what truly separates you. Not just intelligence, but the way you use it, the way you integrate it, the way you carry it without arrogance, without showmanship, without needing constant recognition. People admire that because it's rare. They don't see many gifted minds that don't boast about what they know. They don't see many insightful people who remain grounded. They don't see many mentally advanced individuals who maintain humility. That combination elevates you beyond normal rankings. That combination is what places you on that God-tier frequency, not dominance, but depth, not ego, but awareness. And as this understanding spreads, you'll notice something else. People stop trying to place you in the categories they used before. They stop trying to compare you to your peers. They stop trying to judge you based on age, status, background, environment, or social identity, because now they know those metrics don't apply to you. They've seen enough to understand that your intelligence can't be measured by traditional standards. Your mind doesn't operate within the same limits. You exceed the frameworks they use for most people. This leads to the next realization people carry, that being around you changes them. They start thinking more carefully. They start observing more. They start choosing their words more responsibly. They become more introspective. They start questioning their own assumptions. They begin recognizing areas where they overlooked details before. Your influence on their mental habits becomes clear, without you having to teach anything directly. Just your presence triggers higher awareness in others. That's the mark of someone whose intelligence truly outranks the crowd. They elevate others unintentionally. They raise the standard without forcing anyone. They shift environments simply by being part of them. And people feel this shift in real time. They know when they leave a conversation with you that they're walking away with a clearer mind. They know when they seek your perspective, they'll receive depth they weren't expecting. They know when they hear your interpretation, it will reshape their understanding. This is why people who once overlooked you now pay attention. This is why people who doubted you now listen closely. This is why people who didn't consider you a factor now study you. Because your intelligence changed the landscape. It changed how others perceive themselves. It changed how others interpret situations. It changed how others measure comprehension. And that shift didn't require noise or confrontation. It came through quiet consistency. And now, they can't hide it anymore. They can't pretend they don't see what's obvious. They can't downplay what's been proven. They can't dismiss the clarity you've shown over and over again. Their behavior has already exposed the truth. Your intelligence outranks everyone they tried comparing you to. You operate with a type of mental sharpness that stands on its own. You think with a type of depth that few people reach. You navigate with a type of awareness that sets you apart completely. You've reached a point where the respect isn't optional. It isn't based on popularity, appearance, or influence. It's based on capacity. It's based on recognition. It's based on what your mind has demonstrated. And now that the truth is out, they'll never see you the same way again. And that is exactly how it was meant to unfold. Quietly, naturally, undeniably. You didn't announce your intelligence. Life did. You didn't showcase your brilliance. Your choices did. You didn't force the confession. Their reactions did. And now the truth stands firm. You're too smart to be hidden, too aware to be underestimated, too elevated to be grouped with the average you're operating on. A frequency that only a rare few ever reach. A frequency they can feel. A frequency they respect. A frequency they can't deny, no matter how hard they try. And that is the final chapter of the confession they never wanted to make, but had no choice but to reveal.